Hello, folks. Welcome to the UK Games Expo live stream. My name is Millie, and this is the test. Hopefully, you can hear Nobby from Battlefield Hobbies. Gosh, I even get the name wrong. Oh, what a morning. Hey, Bez. Bez is raiding with a bunch of 10 folks just as I break to the stress of a Wednesday morning. Nobby from Battlefield Hobbies. There we go. How are you, my friend?
Thank you very much, Millie. Yes, hopefully you can all hear me. We've surmounted the technical problems, hopefully.
Well, my little green lines are peaking and dropping, so that says everything's right on this end. If
Good.
you can't hear me at home, I can't help. Gosh, Kate goes on an adventure, leaves me alone with all the tech for a week or two, and look what I do. I install drivers, I mess things up. Oh, it all goes. Kate, I hope you're having a wonderful holiday, but we do need you back from this adventure. Please drop the ring off at Mordor and get back straight away. But we're not talking about Kate's holiday in the Middle Earth and the second breakfast she's no doubt enjoying. We're here to chat about Battlefield Hobbies and a face that a lot of folks might already recognise, but might not necessarily know. Does that make sense? I see it a lot with guests we have. We have folks like, oh, I recognise them. And then you realise just who
were they, what are they from?
Yeah, just how long you've been playing games, you've been involved with UK Games Expo, how long you've just been involved in tabletop gaming in general, and when you've walked past the gaming table and there's people there going, hey, and you're like, that's that kind of stuff. I think it happens more often than folks are aware. So, Nobby, who are you?
Who am I? I'm an aging young gamer, is probably how I'd describe it. I've been gaming since as long as I can remember, whether it was Airfix or whatever, but role-playing since I was 11 when D&D first came out.
Gosh.
To put it into perspective, I'm now 57. You can do the math. So a long time. And we fell into running what is Battlefield Hobbies now a few years ago. So gaming on and off all my life, all sorts of types, whether it's tabletop, board games, role-playing. I even did LARP once.
Ooh.
Once.
Just once. Too cold in the field.
Yeah, the three of the directors are all involved with gaming variously. So there's Hammy, who a lot of people in the community will know, who's one of the directors with me, and he's intimately familiar with board games generally, and a board game guru, has run his own board game companies before, and he does a lot of tabletop as well. And Peter, who's our finance wizard, owns Curious Pastimes.
Oh wow!
So we a bunch of nerds that got together through gaming and ended up running a business, which is amongst what we do. Yeah,
it's awesome.
And yeah, in terms of Games Expo, I think you said, have we been involved in Games Expo? So we've been variously involved in Games Expo for a period of time. Hammy longer than me because he was umpiring different tournaments at Games Expo.
Yeah.
And Jack, one of our work colleagues, he was a privateer press ganger guy working at Games Expo running tournaments. And then with our broader business, we support Games Expo with logistics and build and set up at the actual show.
Yeah.
So,
gosh.
Random.
Gosh, it's all so cool when you kind of work out like, and you were saying, this all started with you playing a version of Dungeons and Dragons at 11.
Yeah. So naval background, my family. I'm definitely the black sheep, and one of the boys at my school, his father was also a naval officer. That he came back from the States. And I can't say this because of copyright reasons. He might have had some photocopies of original D&D. So
you say that, but we've spoken like at Expo with Ian Livingston, and he famously says how they used to photocopy the D&D to sell it in the games world. So I don't think that anybody's going to say anything like that because
that was how we started. I remember being on the bedroom floor of this my another boy at my school. We were about 11, and I remember he was trying to explain how the game works, and we were going through it and trying to work it out together. And I remember saying, "Oh, you can buy some armor and a sword. Why do you have to buy an argument?" Because you had to buy quarrels, not knowing as an 11-year-old boy that was a crossbow quarrel. Yeah. Anyway, but there were all sorts of things. Certain things stick in your memory, don't they? And then I remember as a teenager when AD&D came out, first edition, the only edition. Yeah, yes, okay, very good. When AD&D first came out, we had a very competent games master who actually wrote for White Dwarf and wrote some scenarios and so on.
Wow.
As a freelance, but he refused to let any of us buy the DMG, the Dungeon Master's Guide. He only let us have the Player's Handbook, so that this whole world of mystery would remain a mystery, because we didn't know what the magic items did, and we didn't know what the DM was going to do. So that remained pure for, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, which was quite incredible, really, that we never bought a DMG in that period. But he always was the dungeon master.
I mean, I think folks forget, like, originally, the players didn't necessarily roll the dice. You didn't necessarily know how good your stealth check was. You were just like, "Yep, I've done it."
Yeah. He let us roll dice for some things and not for others. And we always played with miniatures.
Yeah.
Always with miniatures. I've never done role playing without miniatures. I don't know. A lot of people don't, because it was pencil and paper, but we always did it with miniatures.
Yeah. I remember making our own map of the Keep of the Borderlands. We all to draw it ourselves from the way the Dungeon Master was explaining to Simon, running us through it. Like, okay, so it's a room by this, and then you would narrate your way back, and you'd be like, "No."
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, draw your own maps. Make sure you've got parchment, otherwise you're not writing anything down, sunshine, and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
He was quite strict, but also quite fair.
Yeah, but led to beautiful situations where you're like, "No, this should be a room here. There's a room here," and the DM's like, "No, I've got it here."
I'll never forget another thing was, as a teenager coming back from a friend's house, and I had a bag full of Dungeons and Dragons and paraphernalia and so on. I remember walking home to my dad's flat at the time, and I was probably 15, 16. And I remember this police van pulling up alongside, and all these burly policemen got out, because it was about like 1 a.m. And there I am walking along with a big bag of what looks very heavy loot. Yeah. And they all got out and demanded to see my bag. And then they felt guilty for stopping me and gave me a lift home. I've never forgotten that.
Oh.
So bless them. So, yeah.
Gosh. And so this love of Dungeon, you're talking about it now, and you've mentioned earlier you're still playing. So it's stuck with you all this time and kept you.
I had probably a period of 15 years where I wasn't doing any form of gaming, and that was probably mid-20s to just 40s, early 40s. I think there was a period I wasn't doing any gaming, other stuff, motorbiking, or all of that sort of stuff, which I still do. But I had a complete lapse, for a variety of reasons. You discover girls, and apparently they're important, and then you have children and they're important.
Yeah, apparently.
All that sort of stuff. So, but yeah, so I had a diversion, and then we were actually in the town that we're now located in Daventry, and someone opened a game shop in Daventry, which doesn't exist anymore, but called the Game Salt. Smashing bloke who ran it, Steve. And I literally walked in there one day and then just started buying stuff. Bang.
Yeah.
At the age of 40 or whatever I was, 38 with 40, whatever it was, and just started banging, and all of a sudden it just went from there. And then I met Hammy at a Flames of War tournament in a village hall in Oxford. We became friends, although he'll tell you otherwise. But
mortal enemies.
And he's I won't tell him to his face, but I'll say it on here, is that he's been an amazing, supportive person ever since I've known him. So and now we have this business together.
Yeah. So what is, like, we've kind of like mentioned it a bit. What is Battlefield Hobbies? What's going on over there?
It is a standard, friendly local game store, is how I would describe it. So it is not a high street venue, so it's more of a destination store. So we typically rely on events to bring the place alive. We have a very strong local gaming community. We stock role-playing miniatures board games, all the stuff you would expect, and I'll show you around in a bit.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
But we also have gaming tables, and I'm sitting at one of them now, and a gaming environment, which Wednesday and Friday night, Saturday and Sundays is normally historically pre-COVID. Buzzing, on a Wednesday night we can have 60 plus people here playing an eclectic mix of literally anything and everything.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
So obviously you're mentioning pre-COVID and you have a lot of events. We have this May and these June dates coming up. Have you got some things planned up in the calendar for those?
So yes. So Hammy's taken a brave pill, and I think on the basis that Boris sticks to his plan, I think there is an event running literally the first weekend after the 17th. Nice. Or weekend, which I think is Flames of War. I should know this, shouldn't I? I'm pretty sure it's Flames of War. Hammy's coming down to run it for 2 days. And we have various other events starting to be booked by other organisers, because we don't organise all the events. Organisers come in here, use the venue to organise events. But we've got everything going on. We pre-COVID, we were doing like Pokemon would be once a month, running a large Pokemon tour. We have Flames of War, we'd have Legion, Lord of the Rings, miniatures games, all sorts of different 1 day, 2 day events going on. And that I think will pick up as soon as the lid does come off properly and we're allowed to do stuff again. I think it will come up. Obviously, we're assuming the May release from lockdown will still have social distancing requirements.
Yeah.
And the rule of 6 indoors will apply like it did for those few weeks last year when we could do it. So that seriously curtails the number of tables we can have, and you'll see that today, played at any one time. But normally we could have a lot of people.
Yeah. I mean, you say like a fairly average or standard friendly local game store, and I'm gonna guess, given the size you're probably going to show us, that's a slight exaggeration, because I've seen a lot of high street game stores. I mean, you basically play games like this.
Okay, no, we're not a high street game store. So there are lots of great stores out there, Boards and Swords, up the road in Nottingham. You've got Firestorm Games, you've got lots of shops. And most of those shops can cope with quite a lot of playing. They're about the community as well as, we sell online like they do, and we sell to the community. But so I guess my experience of friendly local game stores have been ones where I've gone to because they've run an event that I've attended. So I tend to go to the ones that have more space because they're running events, I guess. So in my experience, we're similar to those.
Yes.
You're right. Some of the smaller ones in town, we may be, and there are some in Northampton, for example, that we are far larger than. Yeah, I get it.
I mean, it's a high street problem, isn't it? When you kind of stuck like that, it's a thing that I know a lot of game stores kind of think about. Do you do something like yourselves and be a destination, or do you go teeny tiny?
There's pros and cons.
Yeah.
There really are. As a retailer, there's pros and cons of being high street and not. And sometimes I'm really jealous of those that are based in big towns with massive communities and larger sales than us. But we are where we are, and obviously we have the other side of our business, the light side anyway, which and being, if we weren't co-located, it would be an issue for us.
Yeah. So let's have a look. Let's see what the shop's like, what the whole place is.
Right. Let's see if this works. Okay.
Yeah.
Just get my zoom up. So we start at the beginning. If it goes blurry, I'll walk slower.
Okay.
Company dog.
Oh, yay, puppies.
He's allowed in when no one else is. So I'm here on my own. So let's just try and spin this round. So the shop side of the business, so when you come in, you can see some of the gaming area.
Oh,
the shop side of the business, we have all the sort of fantasy-led miniatures and board games kind of grouped together with the Lord of the Rings stuff. We built a coffin during lockdown. As a test coffin. Well, they ran out in the UK of coffins last year, which is a very sad thing to say. But we were asked to look at whether we could manufacture them for a certain price, and we couldn't. But this was a test one, so we thought we'd use it to house our role playing.
Well, they did that Curse of Strahd version in the box, didn't they? So
yes,
I guess I guess
Yeah.
it makes sense.
It seemed a waste not to use it.
Yeah.
So the shop itself then is, I guess, what you would expect from a shop.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's a lot of the usual, Star Wars and Marvel Crisis and Legion and X-Wing Armada, all the Games Workshop stuff that you'd expect to find in a shop. Obviously, Games Workshop. Oops, a bit of clearing up there. Sorry.
That's okay. It's lockdown. Nobody's coming in yet.
No, I know, but it is all prepared. Just an eclectic mix. Judge Dredd,
nice.
Blood Bowl, board games ad infinitum, the usual suspects like Catan and so on. But James takes great pleasure. There's a lot more board games.
Oh wow!
Here.
Yeah.
There's board games there. James buys all sorts of board games, or Hammy, sorry, I should say, all sorts of stuff. Some of which I can't even work out the rules, but he's very clever. Everything from all sorts of manufacturers, Warlord and Battlefront and Perry, and try and keep an eclectic mix of stuff. So this is the more ancients and fantasy figures, the World War II stuff.
Wow. Paints and everything.
More board games, lots of Magic, lots of World War II stuff, more paints. You can't seem to get enough paints. No. Dice boxes, Magic, hobby materials, all of that type of stuff, really. So it's probably very normal for a game shop in terms of what we stock here.
It's a great range, isn't it? You've got a nice bit of everything.
Yeah, we try and carry. So Spirit Games, that sadly is not continuing now, but I mean, they were a destination store because they were this treasure trove of stuff. I remember you're familiar with Asdevium.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah, I know those guys.
Asdevium as was Asmodee.
Yeah.
I used to go to Asdevium when they operated out of their front room in Aldershot, and we used to go there and buy all the fanzines and stuff to do with D&D and so on. So I remember the mother and the son then, when we used to go to their house in Aldershot. That's how long I've been involved in this industry. So in here then, so this is what we normally use mostly for tabletop in here.
Yeah, okay, cool, yeah. So you've got nice green boards and a bit of terrain and stuff going on.
Yeah, we've got loads of terrain. That's just some of what is out. We've got a hobby area that we do stuff. This is the main gaming area in here.
Wow.
But it's only got 6 tables in. Because that would be rule of 6 at each of the 6 tables, and they all have to have the 2 meter distancing and so on and so forth. Normally we could have 80 people in here.
Yeah.
So a lot more. We have display cabinets with armies in that have been painted so people can see what they're like and so on and so forth. I mean, it's a big space, lots of terrain for people to use.
Gosh.
On the gaming tables and so on for all variety of systems, whether it's fantasy or space or World War II or whatever. We have over here, except we seem to have a lot of trestle tables parked in front of it, so apologies for that. That's our board game library here.
Yeah, all right, so we can just crack out in some games and
they can just come and try before they buy or have a go at it or whatever else and play games there. And then I've just been trying to go through all the organised play stuff that we had that didn't get used during the whole COVID period. So we got loads of organised play kits that then we bought in and obviously couldn't then use.
Couldn't organise play at the time. Yeah.
We've got one of those here. We've got, you can see where the thing is. So this is just a free vend library. Bring a book, take a book, do whatever you want with books and magazines. So we do that for the community, really.
Nice.
So,
it's a nice bright space. It's very, like, you can see you've got a good set of windows and some nice lighting in there. It's not at all like a cramped and
I'll be honest with you now. Shall I tell you what we're actually standing?
Go on.
We're standing in what was a large fridge for chilled goods.
What?
Yeah. So this was the company we took it over from. This was a large fridge. And those window apertures that you see there, they were where all the air conditioning units were. What I can tell you is this place is warm in the winter and cool in the summer. It is so well insulated, it is ridiculous.
Wow.
Compared to our main building and everything that we've got next door, this is the coolest / warmest place. Hence, during the winter, I base myself in here during COVID because it was warmer than anywhere else. But yeah, it was a fridge. How about that?
Fridge. It's a huge fridge then. Goodness.
It was very big. They did health foods and all that sort of stuff. But yeah.
Wow.
Now, I've just told that to the general public now. I don't tell many people that, but I'm being honest with you.
It's a secret. No, it's really interesting to see how things and places are when you get into the nitty-gritty of it.
If I shared with you the pictures of before it was a fridge, when it was a fridge, no one would visit us. I can tell you, it was a wreck.
Was it?
Yeah, the place had been left unused for a year, the whole place. It was just a wreck.
Battlefield Hobbies, says somebody.
Well, that's a nickname. That's a nickname that we do use in the business. Battlefield Hobbies. But yeah, it is a funny one.
Oh, so Cosmos Games is in the chat there, and they're asking, does it, being an old fridge, interfere with mobile phones?
So no, ironically, but we've had to, ironically, we moved the Wi-Fi repeater today because it does interfere with the Wi-Fi, but in terms of mobile signal, I don't seem to have a problem.
Oh, interesting.
Which is interesting.
I mean, some people might say it interfering with mobile phones would not necessarily be a downside when you're playing. Sorry, I didn't get the message. I didn't get your message. Yeah. We were just playing. It was, you know how it is, that kind of thing. I could go with that. That would be fine.
That would be a good excuse for the wife. No, I'm not gaming. I don't know what you mean. What message? Yeah, I think that would be a good idea. But yeah, no, it hasn't interfered with that. And it was, we were in a different location in Daventry. In fact, as a business, we had 4 different buildings in Daventry, and the shop Battlefield Hobbies launched in one of those. Mm-hmm. In fact, you can still see our old Kickstarter video actually on the Kickstarter somewhere. But we consolidated the year before, so 2019, we consolidated here and moved the shop and everything lock, stock to here, which was great till March the 20th.
It was.
So, yeah.
So, going forwards, then we've got some stuff planned pretty close to the the dates, and then you also mentioned like other folks can come in and run events and that kind of stuff. So how do folks get involved and that kind of stuff? So
literally, they message the shop either through the Facebook channel or directly through our website to the info at Battlefield Hobbies, and they talk to us about what they're trying to do. So we make sure there's a fit both in terms of space. We talk to them about what scenery availability we have. Mm-hmm. Whether they're going to bring it, what setup time they need, and so on. And then it's just a per head payment. We organise a buffet to come in.
Oh, wow.
So that gets delivered in and so on and so forth. So it's as little or as much as they want us to do, really. We can support it through our Facebook site and promote the event through there. We can do the ticket offering for them, or they can do it themselves. Whatever works, really. Pretty flexible.
Gosh, easy peasy.
It is easy. I mean, theoretically, we do run live events as our day job as well. So theoretically, we should be okay at it.
just a bit. Are there any games that you people kind of say, all right, we're organising this event, and you're like, oh, I wish I could play instead of just being,
every day's school. Yes. So at the moment, A Song of Ice and Fire or Legion for me, or Lord of the Rings, or at the age of 40 odd, I started playing the Warhammer stuff, which I'd never played before. I've now got 40k armies, I've got Sigmar armies. So any of those type of events I like doing. We also have some of our local community come and organise a 24-hour charity, raising money for a very important charity, a mental wellbeing charity, and we've done that for a few years. And they come in and they run 24 hours, which is board gaming basically. Mm-hmm. So it's board. I think they allow all sorts of gaming, but definitely board gaming is the core. And they raise money for charity. And Beardy Pete, who some of the people will know, is a fundamental part of that charity. So yeah, we're pretty flexible and open to ideas, really.
I once remember somebody doing a 24-hour Catan-a-thon. It'd be like, please sponsor us so we can have time away from Catan. We love Catan, but now we're on hour 16, please.
I bet that's a lot of hours of Catan.
Yeah, that was funny.
I think they mostly mix it up. I don't think they're playing one game for that long. That's a long time. Even if you're playing the different variants of Catan, it would probably be.
No, this was just straight
Catan.
plain core Catan out the box
Yeah.
for 24 hours.
Yeah.
But there was one of those things, like if you sponsored them £50, then they could have half an hour off and that kind of stuff, and it was quite fun to watch. They also live streamed it as well. It was just daftness, but yeah, wow. So all different kind of things going on, from charity events to tournaments, and then what about folks? Can you, when everything is whatever it is, can we just come down and play? Do we need to book a table or something up ahead?
No. So while rarely do you need to book a table. So when people come in, normally they're just on the free vend and they come in. If there's an event, a large event running, which is using, say, 80% or 90% of the gaming space, then we let our locals know, or we publicize it through the Facebook channels and so on, to say, look, it's going to be really tight. There's only going to be this number of tables. Suggest you book a table with us. But normally we don't book tables. It becomes quite an administrative task dealing with that. And we try and squeeze people in as best we can, but it's not packed here. There's sensible space between the tables, even when they're fully deployed.
Okay, cool. And then what about things like maybe I just started and I don't have a regular opponent with an. Do you have a nights or events where I can just come along?
So Wednesday night is our sort of 7 till 11 is our core. Haven't got a clue, just moved to the area, don't even know what I like maybe, or do know what I like, but don't have anyone else to play with. And we try and encourage people to come along on a Wednesday night. If they're youngsters, because we encourage youngsters as well, if the youngsters are coming along with a parent or something, that tends to be more on a Saturday.
Okay.
And we then try and find out what they're into, and then try and rope one of our willing members of the local community to come along and have a go with the youngster with that. And we're supportive of that, because we were all young once and we all need to learn somewhere. So yeah, as best we can, we're supportive of that. So
yeah, you say Wednesday nights I can come along, and it might be a bit of a skirmish game or a RPG game and that kind of stuff.
We'll always hook somebody up on a Wednesday night. There is typically, even if it ends up being one of the staff having a go at it, that we'll always hook somebody up somehow with the community. And typically that's arranged before, so they'll message the shop and say, I've just moved to the area and I'm going to come along, but I don't know anyone. And we try and fix that up beforehand, so it's not like going and disturbing people on the night.
Oh, cool. That's good. It's reassuring to know, like, and
we've done a lot of that. You'd be amazed. There's a thing we use on that image I sent. I don't know if it's on that image, but we did a thing at Games Expo a couple of years when we were there as an exhibitor, and we did a nerd refresh zone.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
We had some tissues and deodorant and so on, because us nerds, we have certain challenges, and but we've our hashtag thing that we use as a place is Nerd Safe Zone.
Oh, cool.
So we consider ourselves a nerd safe zone. So the owners of the business are nerds. They have been forever. The people who work in here are nerds. And if you're a nerd, you are more than welcome. If you're not a nerd, that's fine too. But I tend to find that many nerds can be quite shy and not necessarily gregarious, outgoing, and shout about themselves. And they do need to feel comfortable that they can come in and be themselves and feel part of a community where they feel welcome. Yeah. So we're strong on that. Oh. I think we are.
That's lovely. I love it. I do remember the shelf. The shelf at
the nerd refresh zone.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. I remember hearing people talking about it as well. That was really cool. So yeah, I'm just a bit like, oh, this is all exciting and brilliant, and then I'm looking at chat because we've got a few folks who are like, this is like the exact opposite of what people would traditionally kind of like, the stereotypical kind of shop. It's like bright and airy. They were as Abe's Odyssey wish they lived closer. People are asking if you can open it down their way because they don't have one. That kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, that's good. I mean, it's good with feeling. I mean, at the moment, my heart's going out to every other shop owner out there at the moment, because it's been an incredibly tough year. I think those that have a strong, supportive community have been supported by their community. We certainly have. We wouldn't be here if our community hadn't continued to support us through the whole lockdowns and so on. And that relationship between the community and us has bonded during this past year. So, but if we could replicate this in other towns, then of course we would. It'd be lovely to do that.
Just write that down, maybe 2025.
I know, right? I know.
Put some plans. Take over
Just
the
need
world.
to get some pennies together again.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, it's really cool. So what are your plans? Are you going to be playing some games once lockdown is lifted? Are you going to be in there, or are you now just like, all right, my lockdown is over, I'm going to be on the shop floor making sure everybody else gets to play the games?
So that first, being honest, because that's my job.
Mm-hmm.
We've got to make sure that the community that has supported us, we support them back. As soon as we can open again, we will open again properly. Because we're such a destination store, the 12th of April date doesn't make a lot of sense for us.
No,
because we don't get normal footfall like a high street retailer would. So we'll do click and collect and stuff like that, and postal stuff and so on. But really, this venue is about people inside it playing games. So the 17th of May deadline is much more important for us from that perspective. But yeah.
What is gonna be your first game with everybody in the shop? What are you going to play?
Song and Ice of Fire for me. I don't paint, right? So I'm rubbish at it. And my confession is I have paid various people to very nicely paint all of my armies for me. And this lockdown thing's happened, and I decided I was going to paint. And my wife kindly gave me my study back. Now the children have gone back to school, and I've been painting using contrast paints. These
the
Miracle
paints,
Games Workshop, which purist painters will say, no, that's not proper painting and this, that, and the other, but it's as good as you're going to get from Nobby, trust me. And do you know what? It's been okay. I've managed to get some I'm trying to paint some armies at the moment. I've got some units done, fully done and based and everything. That's unreal for me. So Song of Ice and Fire for me.
You get down. What? So that's the Game of Thrones one, is it?
Yes. So this is the miniatures game of Game of Thrones. Yeah, it is. So it's 28mm skirmish figures, and it just the mechanics and the simplicity of it and the speed of a game. All of that appeals to me at the moment. So yeah, I'm excited to play that.
Oh, cool.
And there's quite a few of us here that play that.
Who have you been painting? What have you been? Tell us.
I've been doing Stark minor banners. So I've been doing Tullys.
Oh, yeah.
So I've been doing some Tullys, and I've been doing the horrible Boltons, Flayed Men and everything.
Yeah.
And I'm just doing some Craddock Men trackers. Another Stark minor banner. But the whole Game of Thrones thing, here's an interesting story for you. I'll keep it very short. But Kit Harington, you will have heard of, will know. I worked with his dad for like 26 years.
Wow.
And his dad said to me, and it must have been 3, 4, 5 years ago, he said, "Oh, my son's doing really well in this thing called Game of Thrones. Have you seen it?" And I didn't have a clue. Literally, I watched Game of Thrones. I started watching it 2 years ago for the first time. I've now watched it all 3 times, totally addicted. But his son is Kit Harington, and I had no clue. Never met him. Never done that, but I worked with his dad for 26 years.
Just like his dad's just like, "Oh, my son's doing this thing."
I know he did, and it was so like, he said, "It's quite big, I think, now, Game of Thrones." He said, "He's doing really well in that." I said, "Oh, good." No, I haven't got a clue. I haven't got an idea. What's that?
This is the 6 degrees of separation thing, isn't it? That's excellent. Oh.
So I've never met Kit, but I'm determined to bump into him and say, "Oh, can you pass your regards to your dad, please?"
Oh, yeah. Can you just...
retired. He's retired now, so I can't even get in touch and say, "I've watched it now."
What a weird situation that would be. This famous Jen from Game of Thrones, and you're like, "Can you just say hi to your dad? Thanks.
Yeah,
bye."
I just want to do that because that would just be fun.
Just be brilliant. Oh, it's been lovely chatting with you, Nobby. I'm really excited to hear Battlefield's going to get to fling open the doors and get some folks in playing some games. Sorry, Cosmos Games, brilliant there. It certainly feels like winter is coming when you're sat in a fridge.
That is a good line. We're going to use that. Thank you.
There we go. That's it. I like it. And Jackalus is a Lannister, apparently. He likes the Lannisters for the win.
Yes, he's on the staff. I can't. He is one of our team.
Oh, okay.
He's being cheeky. I'm not showing you our models either. Just see.
Well, you'll have to go down and visit Battlefield and see the minor Starks and get a game of it in. If you
get
want.
a game with someone nice and firing, for sure. Yeah. And let's hoping that we can go to a Games Expo soon.
Yes, many plans are afoot, just like you would expect with the Lannisters or everybody else for making a Games Expo. Fingers crossed, everything. But it's just one of those positions where we have to wait. Just have to wait. It's as much as we'd like to dive in and get everything done. It is. Yeah, no,
I fully understand that.
Yeah. But in the meantime, we'll have some wonderful weekly chats with folks like yourself, Nobby, and then we've got some more guys coming up later on. And if you want to find out more about Battlefield Hobbies, you can find them on the Facebooks. We'll pop the links in the description over on YouTube, and find us on Twitter because we will share the links there as well. It has been a pleasure. We're going to take 10 minutes or so to get a new brew and just poke my connections here and just make sure my tech is behaving. And we'll be right back. Thank you very much, folks. Where is there we go. That's the one. Thanks very much, folks. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.